If you're looking for, let's say you have an LLC, right? And you have a FICO around 575 to 590, and you're looking for an LLC business credit card that will give you a fast approval. There are actually hacks you can actually implement today, not yesterday, not tomorrow. Hacks you can implement today to actually get your credit card approved real fast. So I want to share them with you. Okay, here are the steps I really want you to pay attention to. So the first thing you want to do here is that you need to define your business. So when we talk about defining your business, I'm talking about your LLC. You got to go back to your paperwork and ask yourself, do I have an LLC? Because the whole thing, a lot of folks, they just walk around saying, hey, I actually have an LLC. And if I start probing you, if I start asking you questions, like very detailed questions, for example, do you have a registered agent? What was the last time you received from the state a certificate of a good standing? When I start asking you questions about, do you have a business bank account? When I start asking you, do you have a business address? See, the whole thing is, those you might be thinking, well, those questions are kind of like small questions, but they are very important questions. Okay, boss. So we got to really stop this amateur sort of attitude where we talk about we have an LLC simply because we filed some paperwork with the state and they sent us like some notification that, hey, we have received your LLC application and you're all set. So it's more than that. Okay, if you are trying to get an LLC business credit card and you have a FICO score around 580, you need to define your business. And again, by the way, when we talk about a business address, do me a favor. If you don't ever try to use your house, don't try to mingle your personal affairs with your business affairs. Don't use your house address as a business address. Try to buy, you can get a virtual mailbox. Virtual address. It costs $10, $15 a month, boss. Okay, I want you to divorce your personal affairs from your business affairs. Okay, please safeguard your privacy. Okay, and here are a few pro tips I want to give you also. When we talk about getting an LLC business credit card with a FICO of 570, 580, let's say bad credit, you want to make sure that you have a business plan. I don't care how great you think you are or how excellent you think your credit is. You got to have a business plan. So the first thing you have to do here is to define your business. I mean, this is pretty good. Second thing I want you to do here is to actually check your personal credit score. This is important because, we started today's conversation with the assumption that your FICO score was low, right? You thought about it. I thought about it. Okay. But what if I were to tell you, for instance, that this could be, there is a possibility. I'm not saying this is the truth. There's a possibility that your credit score that you think was around 580 is probably around 620 or 630 or 640. So when we talk about credit card for LLCs and you are like 10 points or 20 points or 30 points, if you have a delta, if you have a gap, or if you have a surplus, those are really important. So when we talk about checking your credit score for your LLC business credit card, I'm not asking you to check your credit score yesterday. I'm asking you to check your credit score, let's say 3 days or 4 days or 5 days before, like very shortly before you apply for your LLC business credit card. That way whatever info you have access to is pretty legit, it's pretty recent. Okay, some people, they actually check their credit score, let's say 3 months or 6 months earlier, and then they apply for an LLC business credit card 6 months later. That's just not a right strategy, okay? Because things change. Your business credit score or personal credit score is not anything static. It moves, it goes up and down. It just follows a yo-yo sort of attitude, or a yo-yo sort of movement. Okay, it is what it is. So check your personal credit score. By the way, boss, welcome back to the show. It's really a pleasure to have you here. And, every now and then I love to have conversations about LLC business credit cards with the folks who have a low FICO score. One thing I want you to remember here is that when we talk about LLC business credit card with a low FICO score, you could have also, you have to look at the business credit score part of things. If you have a startup, if your LLC just started like yesterday, well, you haven't gotten a chance to actually accumulate credit yet. But if you have been in this game for a while, then you also need to think about your business credit score, your beta score, your Intel score, your Equifax commercial score also. The third thing I want you to do here is to actually compare business credit cards. Obviously, if you have a low FICO score, you can't just take the first credit card that you can't just apply to one credit card. And by the way, you want to actually go for credit cards that allow you to pre-qualify. That way, you know exactly what you're getting yourself into. You can see whether or not you're comfortable with the rates and conditions in terms of whatever they gave you, and you can say, you know what, I'm just gonna wait on this one, and I'm gonna sit it out. And it's normal. It's really normal. I mean, nobody's just trying to actually force your ass to apply for an LLC business credit card when you know deep inside, you know this ain't the right time. Okay, sometimes you can actually convince yourself that you can see the reality. You can see reality like in front of your eyes, and still trying to ignore reality. But honestly, that's what we call the 2 a.m. Verdict. If you wake up in the morning and you around 2, you go to the bathroom, you start thinking. You're thinking, you know that this ain't the right time to apply for a credit card from the LLC business credit card. Okay, so you want to compare business credit cards, and you want to see which one is actually suitable for you. Let me quickly remind you, boss, of today's topic. We're having a conversation about how to apply for an LLC business credit card with a FICO of 580. And if you want a fast approval process, okay, it's really important to understand when we talk about comparing business credit cards, we're talking about the pre-qualification process first, right? So you want to go to like if you choose to compare and contrast Chase LLC business credit cards with Amex, with Truist, with PNC, with US Bank, what you do is you first want to see if you can pre-qualify. We know for a fact that Truist will allow you to pre-qualify for business credit card. Chase also, Capital One also. So trying to see what you can qualify for, okay? And then you actually want to use a credit card aggregator. There are websites out there that allow you to really compare and contrast business credit cards depending on the category. Don't just go and compare credit cards based on the name. You use the category: cashback, rewards, travel rewards, balance transfers, and whatnot. The next thing I want you to do here is, boss, if you are trying to get an LLC business credit card with a FICO with around 580, you got to really be very diligent in terms of gathering the required application information. Let me ask you a question. You know that when we talk about business credit card for your LLC, you got to have some paperwork. Do you have your tax returns? Do you have your LLC tax returns? Do you have your LLC financial documents? Do you have your LLC your financial projections, for example, or actual financial statements? So because you got to have both. If you are not a startup, in other words, if you have an established history of operational performance, you got to be ready to produce revenue and balance sheet information for the last 1, 2, 3 years where you were indeed in operation. We're not speaking here about projections. We're speaking about actual results, things that are really for real, things that you actually have like real data. Be prepared for that. Do you have those, boss? Talk to me about that. Do you have those? If you don't have them, you have to start actually accumulating the evidence, the quote-unquote evidence right now. Because your LLC business credit card issuer is going to ask you sooner or later, okay? And when we talk about financial statements, I'm talking about making sure that you are able to contextualize your data. So if you have, let's say, if you have a quarter or 2 quarters of bad performance, you want to tell the credit card issuer, hey, listen, we had bad quarters because the economy was whatever, COVID, people were not buying, like banks filed for bankruptcy. But you need to provide context, okay? One thing I want to say here is that a lot of folks are having conversations about, our business model is solid. We had a few quarters of losses, but we definitely have you know what? This is just bullshit. This is good. It's called triangulation. You can actually try to razzle dazzle the lender or the credit card issuer. It's not going to work. You got to provide solid proof. I'm not talking about saying this and, we're losing money, but things will get better. What if things don't get better? So the point I'm trying to make is that you need to have a solid credit card application package with solid explanations about your financial results, your LLC's financial results. Speaking about your financial results, your LLC financial results, you got to really pay attention to your LLC annual business income. So here we have three things. When we talk about annual income, this criterion, this factor calls on three other ones. I mean, not three other ones. It calls on three factors. First, you have growth. You have a revenue. So revenue is the top line, sort of a sales, right? Then you have a gross margin. And then you have your expenses. So when you actually deduct your expenses from your gross margin, that's when you have your income. Okay, here I'm actually also talking about your taxes. So the point I'm trying to make is what? The point I'm trying to make here is that whenever a credit card, an LLC credit card, business credit card issuer is asking you for your business income, the lender or the credit card issuer wants to know those three things. Like, are you generating enough revenue when it comes to the top line? Are you taking care of your profit margin? Do you have a healthy profit margin? Okay. And are you actually taking care of your expenses? In other words, do you have runaway expenses, or you have a solid grip on your expenses? Because this is important, because the credit card issuer wants to make sure that you are going to repay them. Whatever you charge on the card, whatever you charge on the LLC credit card, you are going to repay them. So that's why they just double checking, triple checking, quadruple checking, blah, 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 blah. Okay, this is important. So here is the approach I really want you to take right now. Your annual income. To show your annual income, make sure that you show your annual income quarter over quarter. So you can show like annual income for your LLC. You can show it for this quarter, for this month. You can do a historical analysis here. So you can say quarter, like this quarter, this year versus last quarter, last year. Okay. So no. You want to do this quarter this year versus this quarter last year. Okay. And you want to do like cumulative. So you can say quarter to date. And so the point I'm trying to make here is that you need to have a clear understanding around your business income. And big decision time, boss. Big decision time. What is your operational performance? Are you generating revenue? Are you generating income? Or are you struggling to make ends meet in your LLC business? Now, another thing that it's very important, if you are trying to get an LLC business credit card and you happen to have a FICO score around 580 and you want fast approval, you got to really pay attention to the business details that you are providing to the credit card issuer. Okay. Now, what am I talking about? A lot of LLCs that we have actually followed in the last 10 to 20 years, what they do is when they provide business details, they only provide details around their business, the LLC. That's a big mistake. That's a big ass mistake, boss. Because when you provide information around your LLC business, you are providing only one aspect of the equation, which is what? Endogenous analysis, endogenous data. But you got to also provide exogenous data. In other words, external data. Don't just provide internal data. Because when you provide information about internal data, you are giving the LLC business credit card issuer, you are giving them a partial view, which is what? The micro view, the microeconomic view. But you got to balance that version, that view, if you will, with the macro, with an A. Okay, when you talk about the business only, your LLC business only, you're providing a micro with an I. But when you provide a larger perspective, trying to contextualize the conversation, trying to contextualize the information that you're giving to the credit card issuer, they have a better view. Okay, so I really want you to think about that duality next time you apply for an LLC business credit card, because you want to make sure that you are providing both aspects of your financial or monetary or LLC's monetary situation. Okay. And don't forget supporting documentation also. Credit card issuers, lenders, okay, they might not always ask for documentation, but if you have a low FICO score and you are trying to beef up your chances of approval, fast approval that is, okay. We're not just talking about it being approved for after 30 days or being approved for a business credit card after no. We're asking we want fast approval, same day, 48 hours. That's the goal. Okay, and you got to provide some supporting documentation. So for your LLC, things like your articles of organization, things like your certificate of good standing. If you have a registered agent, your banking references, okay, your supplier references. If you have some vendors that you want to reach out to so they can vouch for you, this could also work. The next thing I want you to do here is if you want to be approved for an LLC business credit card, but you have a low FICO score, just wait for your card approval. See, after you've done all the work, you have actually reached out to the lender. There has to be a point where you just have to wait. There's nothing else you can do. And one thing we always say on this show here is to actually apply at a branch. Okay, if you have an LLC and you are looking for an LLC business credit card and you happen to have a low FICO score, you want to apply at a branch. Do not apply online. I know a lot of folks say, well, it's so convenient. I really, I have no time. I have a 9 to 5. My question to you is, if you have a 9 to 5 and you are looking for a business credit card and you can't take the time to apply for this business credit card, then you are in the wrong business. Okay, I mean, because if you do things right, you have the potential to get thousands of credit limit for your business credit card. So you really want to go to a branch. You want to sit down with the credit card issuer, like with the rep of the credit card issuing company. You want to have a conversation right now. As of the date of this show, when it comes to business credit cards or personal credit cards for that matter, only banks and credit unions, only financial institutions, those two financial institution types are able to issue business credit cards. In the future, this might change. I think this is changing already, because when it comes to personal credit cards, you have some players, some fintechs, they're actually getting to this domain. But when it comes to business credit cards, right now, it's just still banks and credit unions. One thing I want to say before closing into this conversation here is that when we say you want to wait for your card approval, please make sure that you do not apply for other credit cards. Don't actually give the impression that you are just searching for whatever credit cards you can get for your LLC. No, take the time to wait, and you can very gently ask the bank or credit union if they have gotten the chance to actually review your application. Okay, but you got to be very careful though. Like, it's not about pushing, like sounding to push you or whatever. No. But if ever you get declined, remember that you always have something called the reconsideration line. So you always have the option to actually go and plead or replead your LLC business's case and just explain why you deserve a second chance or third chance or fourth chance or whatever. Okay, this is really important. Thank you so much for your attention. I really appreciate in today's conversation. I'm just talking to you about LLC business credit cards with a FICO score of 580 minimum. And if you want fast approval, there are things you need to do. So you got to define your business, check your personal credit score, compare business credit cards, gather the required application information, and wait for your card approval at the right time. Thank you. God bless you. I'll see you next time. But until then, remember, stay marvelous.